Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to another episode of the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. There's a lot of talk about both augmented reality and the possibilities it can offer at the moment, but also how retailers are being forced to recognise their customers' rising expectation levels. Step forward Omnyway, a leading augmented digital commerce platform that recently announced it has closed a $12.75 million Series A funding to help Omnyway grow its operations, launch new services on its current contextual commerce platform, but also expand its customer base both in the US and worldwide. Essentially, Omnyway empowers retailers and brands to build an augmented digital commerce ecosystem that will bring the power of the virtual world to the shopper's experience in the physical store. And they do this all by using the mobile phone as a bridge for all aspects of the buying journey. The Omnyway platform creates a dynamic digital channel between the retailer and the shopper across all channels of interaction, in-store, online, in-app, all using any smart mobile device. And that was enough to get me interested. So I've secured a little time with the CEO and one of the founders of Omnyway. So let's get him on the show. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
I'm Ashok Narasimhan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Omnyway. And what Omnyway does is address a major problem that is affecting the retail sector, especially in the US, but the pattern is there even in Europe and other countries. And what that pattern is that the large brick-and-mortar retailers who actually account for about 90% of all retail sales, 90% of their sales are in physical stores, 10%, maybe 12% are e-commerce. But what is happening is the physical stores, which is where the large majority of the sales take place, is in deep trouble. And just looking at this landscape in the US, over the last several months, there have been store closures, there have been layoffs, there have been bankruptcies, and there have been significant reductions in stock prices for almost all the large retailers. And if you go to these guys and ask them, tell me in one word what is causing your problem, they would probably say Amazon. And that's very true. If you look at the growth rate of Amazon, it is just blowing through everything they touch. And for example, when they made their acquisition of Whole Foods, the stocks of all the major groceries chains dropped by about 8 to 10%. Yeah. I mean, this shows you how petrified people are when Amazon does anything, and for the good reason. Yeah. So if you then step back and say, why is Amazon being able to do this? It comes down to something very simple if you cut through everything. The bottom line is customer experience. If you go to Amazon, log in, as soon as you go in, it says, hi, Neil, and your personalized page will come up, which will be different from my personal page, right? Yeah. So it starts from there. You walk into a store, you might be the most loyal customer in that store. They have no idea who you are, right? And then it goes downhill from there. So the shopping experience, the consumer experience, the shopping store and the physical experience is terrible, completely broken, full of friction. With Amazon, I go in there, Amazon makes recommendations to me. If I'm looking at one product, it'll say, frequently bought together. If you buy these two things together, we'll give you a special price for the bundle. And then there's no question about, a shirt not being available in the size or the color that you want, because all of the inventory is stored in big warehouses. They don't have to deal with the physical inventory storage issues that any store has. So it goes on and on. The entire checkout experience is completely broken. Being able to apply loyalty programs, rewards, promotions, pain. Standing in line to check out, pain. Amazon, I go in there, I hit my one-click button, boom, done. So that is the fundamental difference. Once I've gotten used to that kind of stuff in Amazon, why would I ever want to go to a store? That's the bottom line that all of the large stores are starting to understand. So that's the problem. So the question is, how do we help? the large retailers solve that problem. And the way we do it is, there's a lot of talk about omni-channel, meaning physical channel and e-commerce channel and mobile channel. Actually, those are all the same thing. It's the same shopper. The same shopper who's used to an experience on online is going to expect the same thing when they're at the physical store, because people are people. I've had a particular experience online and need the same experience at the physical store. So we don't think it's right to think about it in terms of omni-channel. We think it's just a single shopper. And so what we do is we bring and overlay the virtual world onto the physical world in the physical store. And the way we do that is by using the mobile. Now, the mobile phone, smartphone, is in effect something every one of us carry around everywhere we go physically. And at the same time, it provides instantaneous contact and connection with the virtual world. So, I'm sure you've heard of augmented reality, Neil.
Yes.
The way we think about this is augmented commerce. So, for example, what we do is we let's say that you enter into a store with our service. As you walk into the store, the app will pop up on your mobile phone saying, "Hi, Neil. And we got some special offers for you today," because we know who you are. We know which store you're walking into. We have, just like Amazon does, your entire back profile of everything you've done. But now we're bringing that front and center, connecting it to you on your mobile. Now you're walking around and you're looking at a particular item. You just scan it and it'll pop up and say, "Hey, did you know that these things are frequently bought together? There's another item which you're probably also interested in. It's one aisle over, and if you go and pick that up, we'll give you a bundle price for it." Just like Amazon does with the frequently bought together, right?
Yeah.
And then you walk around and you see a pair of trousers, and you say, "Hey, that's really nice. I'd like to buy it." But then it's not available in the color and the size that you need. In a typical situation, you'd walk out of the store. In our case, you just scan that, the little barcode. That's no standard barcode, nothing changes. Just scan the thing on the pair of pants, and on your mobile, that product page of the same pair of pants will appear on your mobile. And on your mobile, you can select and change the size and the color of that same pair of pants that you looked at and you liked. And then, let's say you bought a pair of shoes and a belt physically. When you check out physically with the shoes, the belt, you pay for all three, including the pants. So think of it as a virtual card overlaid on a physical card. And so when you check out, you pay for all three. You carry out your little shoes and your belt in your hands, but the pants are shipped to your home. We can go one step further. The whole issue of self-checkout. Amazon has been playing with this concept. They spooked everybody by opening their store in Seattle, where they talked about complete self-checkout. Well, we can come pretty close to that with our existing solution. In fact, with our technology, we've broken the link with the requirement for a physical point of sale. The best example of this is, do you have Uber and I'm sure you've taken Uber, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be lost without it.
Exactly. There you go. Now just think for a second, Neil, about your experience with Uber. You pull out your phone, you open the Uber app, and you say where you want to go.
Yeah.
Uber says, "Okay, we got a car coming to you. This is the name of the driver. This is the license plate, and here's your fare." In the cloud, they've done all the calculations of which city you're in, what kind of car you're trying to hire, and what the rates are at that point of time in that city. All of that is adjusted. Your price is shown. Your car comes in. You get into the car. You get off, and you walk out. There's no point of sale. There's no checkout. To us, that's the best example of a seamless checkout experience, and we come very close. Now it's much tougher to do that in a physical retail store, Neil, compared to a car ride, right? But just because there are so many more SKUs and it's a much more complex environment. But we have solved those problems. So we can offer something very, very close to that process in a physical retail store. So we eliminate the points of friction in the physical shopping experience. The way we do it is through our platform. By the way, our platform is completely in the cloud. It's all completely SaaS-based. There's no software which the retailer has to buy or whatever. We do a one-time integration with their different systems, and then they're off to the races. And they can decide which of these use cases they want to enable, and these can get enabled in days, if not weeks. So that's kind of the core of what we do. What we see the problem is, and that's the problem we're addressing, and how we address it.
Yeah, it's easy to see why Omnyway is widely considered as the leading augmented digital commerce platform now. It really is. But I also read that I think it was announced that you closed a 12.75 million in Series A funding. Can you tell me a little bit more about how that deal is actually going to help take Omnyway to the next level?
Absolutely. That's a great question, Neil. And yes, we are very happy that we have closed and it's as you know, it's a somewhat unusual size for a Series A.
Yeah.
For us, it is also important who the investors are, and that will lead to an answer of your question of how it's going to help us to scale. This is a global problem, and so in looking at investors, by the way, Neil, I've done about 5 or 6 startups in the Valley.
Yeah.
And I have, through the course of those startups, been actively engaged with a number of the tier 1, top tier, Sand Hill Road VCs in the Valley. In fact, I'm a limited partner in a few of them, so I know the world very well. But with Omnyway, we decided that we are going to focus only on investors who have a strong fintech focus, because I've learned that if people don't understand your business, they may be very smart, very bright, very capable, but if they don't get your feel, they're probably not going to be as helpful as somebody who does. So we decided that we would focus only on fintech investors. And so the 3 people who have participated in this round, the first one is NYCA, NYCA. It's a New York-based fintech-focused fund run by a guy called Hans Morris, who is a pretty amazing guy. He had very, very senior positions in Citi for many years. And then you remember when Visa went public? Some years ago, he was brought in to be the president of Visa and, in fact, to take them public, which he did very successfully. After that, he started his own fund, and now he's on his second fund, purely focused on fintech. There's a very strong advisory network of the kind of best people in the financial services and business. So that opens up a lot of doors. He's very well aware of the financial services industry and aware of what are the real problems and how technology can be used to address those. So that's NICA, US-based. Our second co-lead, we've got 3 co-leads. The second co-lead is Commerce Ventures. And I think all of those names are probably provided to you in the press release that we had sent to you, Neil. But Commerce Ventures is the venture capital arm of Commerce Bank of Germany. Commerce Bank is the second largest German bank behind Deutsche Bank. And they've set up their VC arm, corporate VC arm, called Commerce Ventures. And they're, again, as you can imagine, singularly focused on fintech. The third co-lead is the Credit Ease Fintech Investment Fund, CEFIF. And this is a $1 billion fintech-only investment fund based in China. They have partners here in Silicon Valley, but it's a Chinese fund. Commerce Ventures is a German fund, and NICA is a US fund. So I think you can kind of see the pattern here based on the kind of investors we're getting. These are all people who understand the solution that we're providing. These are all people who believe that the scope of the problem is global. And that is the reason why they were interested in investing in us and why we were interested in getting them on board.
Now, I was just going to say there that when it comes to bricks and mortar stores there, it seems quite obvious listening to you that to stay alive but also thrive in a digital age, that retailers need to concentrate on customer experiences, make them seamless, customised and integrated in-store and across channels. But the question I was going to ask you is, are you noticing retailers waking up to this fact, and are they coming knocking on your door yet?
Yes, they are. I think, let me put it this way, there's a lot of blood in the waters here. And when there's a lot of blood in the waters, you get attention of people. If the problem isn't real, every morning these guys wake up and see their stock prices going down. There's a lot of pressure at very senior levels in terms of, we got to. And so, compared to even a year or 2 years ago, we're seeing a much higher degree of urgency. Now, is we've just focused on the top 100 retailers, let's say. Is every one of these guys going to wake up and be able to react in time? No. Maybe 30 of them or 35 of them will be able to react and change and modify and grow and survive, and the rest of them will die. That's the reality.
And I think the key word in what you said there as well is they're reacting rather than being proactive, aren't they?
Exactly. These are old style retail companies. They don't have the Amazon DNA. Amazon does not react. They go in there and they take no prisoners, right? But that is not the DNA of these typical retailers. So they are all reactive. That is the truth. And it's important to realize the reality. If you live in a world which you think meets your description of reality, you're bound to be disappointed. It's important to realize what the reality is and then shape your solution to that reality. And yes, it is all reactive. But nonetheless, it does create a significant amount of interest from these folks.
So there's also a lot of talk about us living in the mobile-first world now. I mean, how are you seeing mobile devices driving that radical transformation in your industry and also beyond too?
Yep. Well, just speaking about our industry, I just gave you the example of our core platform and how the mobile is what helps us to leverage and change the customer experience in the physical store. Because any implication of augmented reality is really not practical to do on your laptop. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It has to be on your phone. And so therefore, the mobile is, in fact, the centerpiece. And then you can experience virtual reality on your mobile phone when you're doing mobile commerce. And the same mobile phone can switch over to augmented commerce when you're doing commerce in a physical store. So it becomes the fulcrum, the key, the focal point, if you will, of enabling that digital transformation. So it's going to be absolutely front and center. Let me give another example of something not in the physical space, but in e-commerce, which we have just launched a new service on our platform called ZapBuy, ZAPBUY, or as you folks would say, ZAPBUY.
Love it.
Okay. So what is ZapBuy? ZapBuy uses our proprietary technology to allow you to do a one-click purchase directly from an advertisement. So just think about you're on your laptop and you're cruising and you see an ad pop up for something, right? Which happens all the time. Today, what is the experience? You click on it and you get taken to the product page on the e-commerce website of the person who put the ad out, right? Then you got to look at the product, you got to play with it, you got to decide you're going to buy it, you take it to the cart, you put it into the cart, you fish out your credit card, you enter all the information, and there's huge drop off at every one of those steps. The numbers are that the conversion rates, that means after the click through, after somebody has clicked through, and clicking through creates billions of dollars in revenue for Google and Facebook and everybody else. It's all based on clicking through of ads. That's how they're paid for. But after it's clicked through, 4 to 5% convert and actually buy. 4 to 5%. Wow. So 95% of them never buy after clicking on the ad. All right? Those are the actual numbers which the industry is struggling with. With ZapBuy, you look at the ad, let's say on your desktop, and we have some magic that we do that when you click on it, it automatically opens up another app on your mobile device. And the product page of that particular product that you looked at on the ad is now delivered on your mobile. You just hit the buy now button, one click on the button on your mobile, and the thing is shipped to your home. How we do the magic, we can talk about separately, but that is going to significantly increase conversion rates. If we can increase conversion rates from 5% to 10%, double it, which is not that difficult because you're starting with a pretty low base, then the economics of that in terms of what it means in the whole advertising ecosystem is billions and billions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's for e-commerce. So I'm just saying how the mobile is important, not just for physical commerce, but also for extended e-commerce, right? The mobile continues to be the heart of it. And so in our solution with ZapBuy, which we will be launching pilots later this quarter, and we will be starting to scale in Q1 of next year. We got a huge amount of interest for it, but that's an example how we're kind of changing even the e-commerce purchase experience, right? And it's not just from a desktop. I could be browsing something on a mobile device and mobile ad, and I think that mobile advertising is growing much faster than desktop advertising right now. But conversion rates on mobile are much worse than desktop. Why is that? It's actually much more clumsy to actually, you click on an ad, you go to the page, to complete the purchase is much more difficult on mobile because of real estate and, fat fingers and all of the rest of it than on your laptop, right? So the drop-off rates are even higher in terms of mobile. In our case, there's nothing to do. The ad pops up, you tap the ad, and it's, thank you, Neil, the item's being shipped to your home. So that is a very, very powerful example of how we're doing. A core platform is meant for physical retail, but we also have other services. There's another one which we have not yet officially announced, but this particular one which we've announced leverages even the conversion rate problem, which is there even in the extremely rapidly growing e-commerce. One of the best things that Amazon has one of the highest conversion rates, as you can imagine. One of the things that really rates is Amazon's one-click.
Yeah, because
what we're doing. Sorry,
I was going to say, because that's people's expectation level now, isn't it? Once you set that expectation.
Exactly. There you go. And no one, but even Amazon, you have to go to the Amazon website before you can use one-click. In our case, you don't have to go to any website. You just, reading the newspaper and you see the ad and you, boom, click on the ad and you're done. One click without ever even going to the website. So that is, we think, going to be a really powerful additional new service. And so part of the use of funding is for us to move geographically, globally, but also it is to address new services like ZapBuy, and we have a couple more lined up in the wings, be able to make the investments required in engineering and sales and marketing to be able to deploy those effectively.
I think for many retailers, Omnyway is going to be a big silver bullet for them. But what I find really, really interesting is those that adopt it, they're going to set a whole new expectation level for their consumers. And the ones that don't adopt it, they can't compete or offer a similar service, and they're going to fall by the wayside, aren't they?
Exactly, Neil. That is so true. I'll just give you one example of one of our large customers. Kohl's, Kohls. It's one of the largest department stores, mid-range department stores in the U.S. So we have our system deployed. They have over 1,200 stores in the U.S., and we've been deployed in all 1,200 of their stores from last October. So a few months ago, their CEO, Kevin Mansell, was giving a keynote speech at ShopDoc in Vegas, I believe it was. And he said, we spent over $2 billion on technology solutions in the last few years. And he said, the only thing we really think is worth talking about is Kohl's Pay, which is our product. They white label it. They call it Kohl's Pay. And he said that has been the most successful product introduction for us. But what was more interesting is he went on to say why he thought it was the most successful product. He said, look, the reason that it has been our most successful product is our customers love it.
Wow, that's hard.
To me, that was really, really, really going to the heart of the thing. To your point, Neil, once now with the Kohl's customers, they got a 94%, that's, by the way, confidential, please don't quote that number, but they got a 94% approval rating for that product from their people who used it, which was way above any other thing that they had introduced. So to your point, once you change someone's shopping experience like that, person comes into Kohl's and they find that kind of a very wonderful, amazing, frictionless shopping experience, and then they go to the Kohl's competitor, which is completely broken, guess where they're going to go the third time?
So when, as a shopper or a consumer, when am I going to start seeing Omnyway in stores, whether it be in the US, UK, Europe? When am I going to start having this experience that we've been talking about today?
Right. We already have that experience, or several parts of that experience in Kohl's in the US for the last year.
Yeah.
There are a couple of others who we are not yet at liberty to announce their names, where we're in the process of deploying it. And I would expect that it will be widely used in a number of stores And each one of the guys we're talking to has a big footprint. Like Kohl's has 1,200 stores, and many of the other people we're speaking to have roughly the same kind of number of stores and revenues and shoppers and everything else. So it'll be fairly widespread starting in 2018 in the US. I would think our plan is to start moving into Europe, and UK would be the first target for obvious reasons, followed by some of the other countries. In the second half of 2018 is our plan. And I would expect, wider scale deployments in Europe to be in 2019. However, with this new funding raise, if in fact we're able to accelerate that by increasing our investment levels, we could potentially see some of those things scale faster.
Well, it's easy to see how Omnyway is empowering retailers, banks and brands to build that contextual digital commerce ecosystem, and also encouraging shoppers to use their mobile phone for all aspects of their buying journey. And it's great to see that AR is not just another buzzword, and you guys are going to explode next year. It's going to be fantastic. So I'm really excited about closely following your journey. I really will be. And hopefully we'll get you back on next year and have a bit of an update with you. But more than anything, a big thank you for taking the time to come on today.
You're most welcome, Neil, and we would like to thank you for taking the time and asking some very, very perceptive questions. I think you went to the heart of what the real issues are and where the opportunities are. Thank you.
Since Omnyway was founded back in 2014, it's established itself as a significant player in retail commerce and continues to see a strong interest in its platform. But this recent funding is a milestone that acknowledges Omnyway's momentum to date, and I think it will set up the company for a sustained growth over the long term. And Omnyway CEO Ashok also told me that to keep up in the fast-moving mobile-first and soon mobile-only world, retailers are going to need tools that speak to how people want to shop and engage today. So I'll be watching this one very closely and hope Omnyway delivers all these personalised and relevant promotions, payment processing and loyalty rewards in the most contextual way to shoppers, which not only increases average order value for businesses, but also customer loyalty. But over to you guys. How do you see retail tech advancing? And as a consumer, what are your expectations, wants and needs? Let me know by tweeting me at Neil C. Hughes or emailing me at techblogwriter@outlook.com. But I'm off to get some retail therapy of my own now, so until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.